Welcome to the Christian Media Marketing Show. My name is John. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope that today's episode will be a benefit to you. I hope it's going to be a blessing to you, to your ministry, and most importantly, to those who have yet maybe to ever hear the gospel in their own heart language. It is an amazing time filled with challenges and yet opportunities when it comes to digital. The growth of AI and of technology, the growth, though, of fake and of things that you look at it and you're just not sure, is this true or not? Well, all of that is growing. But in the midst of this, there are opportunities for us to redeem what we are doing, redeem what's happening, as one of our coworkers says, the screens, to redeem the screens so that people can really hear and have an opportunity to know who Jesus is. As Paul would say, he wants to be all things to all people, and by all possible means to save some. And so that's our purpose, that's our focus, and that's what we want to see happen using digital. We love the Lord more than we love digital, more than we love technology, more than we love media for sure, more than we love social media for sure. But we want to use every possible way to make Jesus known. Now, one of the things that happens when you're doing social media marketing or using any kind of technology to identify seekers and to find out who is interested, who wants to know more, maybe who wants a Bible, who needs prayer, is that they will many times message you back. They will send you a direct message back. That's what we hope for, is to identify these seekers and begin that conversation that can lead to conversion and can lead to a discipleship opportunity where that disciple themselves are not only growing, but able to influence their own relationship network, their oikos, and to make disciples there. So when someone sends you a private message, if you're using multiple channels to send out this social media marketing, how do you handle the influx of messages? How do you have a unified inbox? Well, that's what today's podcast is going to be about. And I want to introduce to you a piece of software that we have been using and testing for quite a while now. We have both self-hosted it and used the cloud version of it. And what I love about it is it's open source. So you can go right in, you can get the software, you can download it. There are some challenges to it, and I'll share some of that today. But if you want to work through those, it can be a really great tool for you. This tool, especially, I think, for small teams, can be a really great option. And it can help you be able to have that unified inbox. So let's dive in to ChatWoot. And I want to share with you some of my observations, the advantages and disadvantages, and then see where you come out. Let's dive into it together now. All right, ChatWoot is the software that we have downloaded and used. We downloaded it from GitHub and we have self-hosted it. And I'll share some screens about that here in just a little bit. And then I also have a subscription to it for testing purposes using their cloud version. And in this Omni-Channel Inbox, there's quite a bit that can happen here. It is very similar to Echo Global, which is software that we like, especially if you're a medium-sized to a larger team. And the price point for that, sometimes for Echo Global, makes teams go, I don't think we can afford it. Well, ChatWoot is one that you can self-host or even using the cloud version, I think it's a pretty reasonable price. When it comes to the advantages of it, the biggest thing here is that it's open source. And so this does allow for customization. It does allow for control. You can download it. You can host it yourself. It integrates with email, with website chat, with social media. There's a lot there that it can integrate with as well. It is affordable because you can self-host it. Now, you will need to pay for your server fees unless you have your own server. But so it's not completely free, but it can be very cost effective. I think even when using the cloud version of it, it has the ability, as you add more people to it, to be able to collaborate, to assign different agents, which is what they call it, to different types of inboxes, different channels that are coming in. So you could have one that's doing just email, one that's doing maybe Meta, one that's maybe just focusing on WhatsApp. And so there's some collaboration tools that are there. There's good privacy and data control, especially if you are self-hosting it, you know what's happening. And there's a fair amount of automation and an integration that is built into it. So there's Zapier, Slack, HubSpot. There's some different ones, and they're not bad. All right. So those are different ones that you can use when you're doing it. Now, the website live chat, I think, is one of its best features because this is one of the ones with Echo Global we don't like to use because it puts the name of the URL of where we're hosting it right up there. And so with this one, you can build it right in, and I think it's going to be a better tool to be able to do that. It has the Omni-Channel Inbox, which is great. It does have the ability to create some automations and create your own even help center of files. And you're going to have to go in there and do that. And that's going to take some work, but you can do it. Couple of other things that I have found that I like about it is the ability to have a form that pops up before you start typing and talking with them. So a pre-chat form can show up to a person and you can begin to talk with them. This isn't true in all areas, but it is true there in many of its integrations. And you can even integrate it with some chatbot platforms. Now, the ones that I know that many of you like to use, like ManyChat and ChatFuel, I haven't seen that and I haven't tested that, but it does work with Rasa, Dialogflow, and a few others. So there's a lot to like about it as you're going through. The pricing, though, is one, if you go with the cloud version, you can do up to 2 agents if you're just using the website part of it for free. Now, if you want to start using Facebook, Instagram, SMS, Telegram, Line, whatever, you're going to, on the cloud version, have to pay. If you're self-hosting it, you do not. You can add all of these people into it. So you're going to have to weigh the pricing and see which one of these is a better option for you if you desire to use ChatWoot. At $19 a month per agent, then you get email, Facebook, Instagram. There is the ability to do a WhatsApp business and connect it up. And there's some pretty neat things that you can do here with it. The best thing when you start bringing it through then really is going to be that $39 a month, which if you go, okay, well, maybe we have 5 responders. Well, you can decide, do you want a male login and a female login? How many agents do you have actively working at any time? If you only have a couple ever working, you can get by with just having 2 there, which is what I would recommend. The key thing from a security standpoint is that they don't have to have their own Facebook login to be able to respond on Facebook. This, to me, is the killer thing, both of Echo Global, of ChatWoot, of Metricool, of all of these, is that people can respond as if they are the Facebook page or the Instagram account without having to give their own information out, and it protects the identity of our online responders. Let me go to their website here and I'll show you a little bit more and talk you through some of the ChatWoot features here. All right, so I'm going to open up my web browser here and show you a few screens here if you're watching the YouTube channel of this podcast. If you're just listening to the audio, I'll try to describe it here for you a little bit. On the ChatWoot website, you're going to be able to go through and really look at a lot of the different features, a lot of the things that it has to offer. All right, so that's all good. I'll come back to that in just a second, but this is what ChatWoot itself looks like. And so on the left, you're going to have all of your conversations. You will have your contacts of those who have reached out to you. Depending upon which channel will tell you how much information that you get from them. There is a reporting capability, which is great if you're a small team. If you're a large team or you have multiple channels or multiple teams, this is an area where I feel like ChatWoot has a disadvantage to it. For an individual report, great. But this is where Echo Global will bring in multiple accounts and multiple reports to be able to do that. But the reporting's good, and you can see how your agents are doing, how many contacts they're talking to, how much time they're working. You have the ability then to create what it calls campaigns and a help center so that you can begin to create help center documents. This is very similar to other platforms where you can save some of your replies, save your information. You can go through and you can set up in the settings then the name of the account, the site language. There's certain languages that you can use. There's ones quite a bit here that you can choose from as far as languages to do it in. Chinese, all sorts of different ones, which I think is really great. There is different custom attributes, labels, the teams that you can create, so much of this, right, that you can do. This is whether you're self-hosting or paying for the cloud version. This is what it looks like. Now, if you're paying for the cloud version, there are things of this that you may want to do where it will say you have to pay for the higher level. This is what takes you from $19 to the $39 a month. So very basic, but good. Like you just go through it and you can set up how you want to do things, what inboxes. When you're going through your inboxes, you can add new ones. So maybe it's WhatsApp, maybe it's Messenger. You click on add inbox and now you can add texting, line, Telegram, email, your website, all of this. This is where, though, it begins to get challenging. So if you are going to self-host this, especially, you need to make sure that you know where the help center is on ChatWoot, because the self-hosted ChatWoot, if you go there, it's going to tell you all the requirements, all the ways to get everything set up. And then if you're using like a cloud provider, let's say maybe DigitalOcean, which is what we've used for this one, it's going to walk you through the process of being able to do that. But then once you begin to connect your different accounts to it, this is where it gets really difficult. So let's say you want a Facebook Messenger one. If you're self-hosting, you have to go through the developer part, create, in essence, what they call an app. You go through this process of being able to do that, and then you have to submit that to Meta and get it approved. And so this is something that I think it's not super easy for people to go through. But if you want to, you can do that, and you can go through the integrations. It will walk you through. You go to the Facebook developer portal, you create the app, you tell all of these things, you find the app secret, the app ID that you create. Then you have to go through and go into Nano or however you're going to go in your server environment and update different bits of information, add the Facebook ad login. You get it. There's a lot to it. But if you want to self-host it, the beautiful part of that is that it might be really cost advantage for you. In DigitalOcean, what it recommends as a size for your server is about $48 a month. 8 gigabytes, 4 CPUs, 160 gigabyte SSD disk, and 5 terabytes of transfer. And so at $48 a month, you can do that. And you could set this up to be able to bring in all of that into your own self-hosted environment. To download it, you will need to go to GitHub, and you can get that link straight from ChatWoot's website. And so it's not bad. It's not too hard to download it. Setting it up, though, I think can be a challenge. And so let me talk a little bit about some of the disadvantages that I've seen of ChatWoot. All right, using ChatWoot, I think, can have a lot of advantages to you, but when it comes to disadvantages, there are some that I've seen as I've played with it. And I think maybe the more I use it, the more I'll find out, well, maybe these aren't as big, or maybe they're a lot worse than what I thought. But for what we've used so far, and I've been self-hosting this now for a few months, I have found that there is some customization complexity. It doesn't mean it can't be done, but it just depends upon your level of how much technical you know, how comfortable you are, all of this. It's the same thing with self-hosting. Are you comfortable setting up a Linux server? Are you comfortable enough that you can maintain it? Because if you don't, this is a huge security risk. If you're not comfortable applying the patches, updating, if you don't even know what sudo is, don't do this, right? But if you do feel comfortable with that, well, then it can be done. I think also the app being approved by Meta is one of the bigger challenges to this. There may be some performance issues for large teams. You're going to have to pay quite a bit to bring this into it if you're self-hosting. There's also just the support itself that at times, yes, there's some good stuff. It's open source, but you are limited then to what you get if you pay for it with the cloud service. And so whether you self-host or you use cloud, the support, the community, that's always one of those big ones that I'm looking into it. There's also, I think, just a fewer integrations than maybe what some of the others have out of the box. But there is the API. So if you want to use it and you're very technical savvy, well, then you can do that. You can set up the API to it. One of the tools here in the next couple of months I'm going to share with you is another open source piece of software that we use that is similar to Zapier, but once again, is free and we self-host it. So yes, you can do that. But if you're not technically savvy, you probably want to use the cloud version to be able to set this all up. We use Disciple Tools. And so if you're going to use that, that's one of those key areas of seeing whether or not you can figure out how to get everything from, let's say, ChatWoot into your Disciple Tools instance. And can it be done? Well, I think it can. We haven't figured it out and haven't really leaned into it yet because for our Discover Jesus initiative and for most of the teams we serve, because of their size and because of the amount of them, we still use Echo Global for it. But all considered, yeah, there's a ton of advantages and there are a few disadvantages as well. So when it comes to whether we would recommend ChatWoot or some other software for you, well, one of the things that is important to me always is to try to use the best tools possible that we can afford to use to do a job. And so I say this a lot that we are in a spiritual war and I want the best weapons as possible. Obviously, the Holy Spirit is the best thing that we have. But when it comes to the digital tools and the software and things that we use, I think ChatWoot could be a good one for you. If it was me and I was a really small team, I would probably try to find 2 licenses, one for my men, one for a woman, or just 2 to come into it. And then I would pay for the cloud service of where I'm at right now as I record this. That's how I think I would do it. Even though it's open source and I really like it, because of that, I think I would pay for the cloud service if I only had a couple of people. Once you begin to get to more than, say, 5, 6 people, and you start adding in the server cost or whatever else that comes into it, well, I don't know. And if you're in a larger organization or you have a lot of teams that you're helping to manage or a lot of channels, then I'm not sure that ChatWoot would be what I would use in that kind of situation. But as a small team, if it's just you and a couple other people, I think ChatWoot is great. In fact, I think it's the one that I have liked the most of all the different ones that I have played with. So check it out. Go in there. You can download the free one on cloud, set it up for your website, even if it's just that for chat. You can do it. You can have it send you a Slack notice when you get a message. Lots of cool things as you play around with it. So I hope that answers your questions. I hope that gives you something to look into. As always, we're going to continue to look. I've got a whole list of pieces of software technology, both with just marketing, but also with cybersecurity and intelligence, learning what open source of what people are searching for, what people are looking for, that felt needs, the spiritual longings that people have. All these different tools, we're constantly looking into it to try to give you our opinion. And that's all it is. It's just an opinion, but if it can help you, then that's great. So thanks so much for listening or for watching today. Next week, I'm going to be talking about social proof again and just some importance and some ways to do that. Some tricks, some techniques to be able to do that. Till next week, Lord willing, keep pressing forward in all you're doing and keep making Jesus famous for the renewal of all things to expedite the Lord's return. That's my hope and my prayer for you. Take care. Bye for now.